Hey, and welcome to our Super Coach Call. I've decided to call it a Super Coach Call because we're all from different teams. Thank you for joining us this evening. And if you are watching this on video playback, I am excited that you have taken the time to watch this video together. The topic for tonight is time management. As many of you saw in the invitation, we had some source material that we're working with, and that is Brooke's video that she published on time management, which I came across in TNL and just fell in love with it. Just so much power-packed, really good practical stuff. Of course, she is exploding. I know last year at Summit, she entered Summit as an Emerald, and this year at Summit, she's going to be walking at maybe 5, 6, 7-star Diamond. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And while she has experimented with a lot of different things, she's finding things that are working, and time management is a huge part of that. And not only time management for ourselves, but something that can duplicate and something that we can pass on to the rest of our team so that we can all be productive together. So that is our topic for today, and I've got a couple ideas that I jotted down, some takeaways from the video that really bounced off to me, and a couple questions as well. But this is a time for each one of us to really share what's been working for you. Also share what are your questions, what are your struggles. This has been a pretty popular coach call as far as the invitation goes. So I think a lot of us have thought about or struggled with this whole idea of time management. And I just want to point out that it's one thing to know and it's a completely different thing to do. Probably every single one of us could give a big lecture on what you should do, but it's really all about like what works, right? Like what is sustainable. I don't know about you, but I know for myself, I have over the years had many different systems of time management that in the beginning I thought held a lot of promise and it was really great, and maybe I would keep it up for 2 weeks, and life gets in the way or whatever, and it turned out not to be sustainable. So what we're here to really discover is finding something that's powerful and finding something that's really light, something that just works. So just to kind of kick us off, I'd like to kind of hear from each person here, what is kind of one question or struggle that you have had with time management, specifically related to the Beachbody business. But of course, these principles are things that are going to apply, all throughout life. So, whether you've seen the video or not, I'm just kind of curious to see, where everybody is, with relationship to time management. So, just 1 or 2 sentences. And anybody who wants to jump in, feel free to unmute yourself, and you can go ahead and share.
I do.
Yeah, Janet.
I struggled with this as well, and one of the things that I struggled with and I wanted to change was organization. And so I happened to find Chalene Johnson has her own organization website, and it's a 30-day challenge. And I started doing that, and that really helped because she talks about prioritizing and making goals and making your goals every day. And sometimes you have to change your goals every day, but prioritizing and making that time to accomplish your goals and making that time to set out, maybe set a day or set a time in the day to make your list of your goals of what you're going to do. And then really focusing on those. And that really helped me, is to be able to write out my list and to say, okay, this is what I want to work on. And when I set that time aside out of the day to sit there and make my list, then I know I could focus on the goals. I could focus on what it is I'm going to do and what it is that's more important to me. And again, prioritizing and what's the most important that has to be done.
Mhm.
And that I've applied with how I'm training with Team Beachbody as a new coach and with my personal life. And that really helped. I'm halfway through the 30-day challenge, but it is something I recommend is just going on to Chalene Johnson's website. She has that 30-day challenge.
That's awesome. Yeah, the 30-day push. And she also has a book that goes go along with it. That's excellent as well. I like to say Chalene Johnson is my spirit animal. I love her.
I do too.
She's just awesome. Janet, that's really, really good. I'm glad that you're going through that. It's an excellent, excellent course. And it's free. I don't know.
Yes.
And it's free.
So I want to say, you know, one thing about time management, and especially I love from the video that Brooke talked about, is the difference between activity versus productivity. I know she said one of the biggest things when she first started was that she kept seeing on the ebook because she thought that's what was going to attract people to her. But she realized that that was just the easy thing to do, and that's why she was doing it. That, you know, some people find it easy to make videos instead of the hard thing is doing the actual productivity that's going to grow your business. And I think that's something I personally struggle with too. You know, there's a lot of activities I do that I think are going to help grow my business, but they don't necessarily. And it's trying to learn to focus on what are the things that are actually going to be productive to grow your business. And like I said, that's one thing that, you know, struck out to me, and it's my struggle with it, is finding out what exactly is the productive stuff that's going to grow your business, as opposed to just constantly doing activities and feel like you're always doing things but nothing's happening. And it's because it's the difference between that, the activity and productivity.
By show of hands, is there anybody else who was struck by that difference as well between activity and productivity? Yeah. I'm curious to know, what are the things that you believe are the productive things to do? Like, what's a waste of time, and then what is actually productive? I know for me, the things that are most productive are actually building relationships and having conversations, like actually talking to people. I think, you know, once I realized that was that's really where the business was growing, that, you know, I realized that's where I need to spend more time. So like having conversations with people and also reaching out to new people, like building new relationships. But is there anything else that you guys would add to that you would say, like, this is where productive time should be spent?
I think, you know, within your challenge groups and things like that, obviously finding the people that are standing out, you know, how they say, finding that 20% that's going to, I don't remember the percentage numbers, but those people that are going to stand out and focusing on those people. And the only way to do it is to be interactive within your challenge group and have individual conversations and messages outside of the group to find out who those strong people are that you're going to then later on recruit to hopefully become coaches as well in your business. So it's focusing on the right people as opposed to just trying to, you know, do it all and just, you know, focus on that percentage. And that was one thing I struggled with too before, is I wanted to try and connect with every single person in the challenge group, but only, you know, 5 of them wanted to actually stand out, and just realizing that, look, I need to focus on these people. These are the people that are ready, not these other people. So I think that's another big thing that is productivity, is focusing on the right people as opposed to trying to throw the net to everybody.
That's good.
Definitely. Yeah. If anybody else going to talk? Okay, I'll talk. What you said, Michael, about, you know, the relationships and talking to people, that is my number one by far. It should be everybody's number one, I think. But I think the number 2 is finding the right spots to find those people within your niche. You know, I think a lot of coaches just, including myself in the beginning, you just go everywhere and anywhere and start talking to everybody, and it's not necessarily the best thing to do. You've got to find what people are, you know, most attracted to you and that are like you, and then go find those people. I think that's the hardest thing that people struggle with, is where to find, you know, new people.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked a lot about niches, and we've even had some calls about Instagram and social media, and that's something that we can always continue to develop.
I'd say on the flip side is doing the busy work and things that aren't growing your business, and realizing when you have to set those things aside and say that's not really working, so let's go here next. So I think that's something too.
Yeah.
I think a lot of. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say a lot of coaches, and very much myself, when you start doing this, and even I'm 15 months into around that. When you start off, you very easily put the cart before the horse in terms of getting your website ready, and then just making all kinds of insane graphics and this and that, when it really truly boils down to, if you don't have anybody that is ready to jump on board, then there's nothing to jump on board to. And I did that for a long time. Only very recently have I kind of really honed down and understood what the necessary foundational elements of this thing really is. And just in the past couple of weeks, I've been seeing a lot more traction just focusing on that, as opposed to all of the other fluff, like Colleen was saying.
Yeah, it really goes back to the 3 vital behaviors. Be proof of the product, that the products work, do personal development, and invite. And I know a lot of people, we talk about inviting a lot, and I think there's a lot of different ways to invite, and some people interpret that with connect, like build relationships, which I think is really productive as well. But the 3 vital behaviors do not include build your website. It does not say make an ebook. It does not say organize a running group. There's lots of things that we do that are not core. Like those things are fine, but don't do those things first.
Right. And I think a lot of it is the difference between, the things that you shared before, being the fisher versus the hunter. A lot of people try and be that fisher where I'm just going to make these pretty things and hope somebody bites on, instead of, having that hunter mentality of, look, I need to go out and find people. I can't just post these things and hope everyone's going to come to me. I got to go out there and find the people that are going to connect with me, and it's going to take, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. And it goes back to that whole conversation of how do you find these people. If you take that fisher metaphor and say, I'm just going to make this really pretty lure and just wait for people to come. Well, maybe you have the most beautiful lure, but it's like hidden inside a little cup, and there's maybe 8 ounces of water around you, and there's no fish. Like, you need to find a different place to put that lure. You need to go out into the ocean. You need to really be accessible to the people who are going to be attracted to you.
Great analogy.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Quick, write that one down, Michael.
it's on our website.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah. A couple other things that came to mind for me. The very first thing when talking about time management is just being really present with why I'm doing what I'm doing. What is my reason? What is it that I'm going for? It's really easy for me to get distracted in the Facebook feed and in, interacting with people who are commenting on pictures and statuses. And, while there's some relationship building that happens there, it's not as productive as one-on-one conversations. But just really kind of becoming present with why I'm doing what I'm doing also helps me to just sift out the things that are just busy work. And then I don't remember where I heard this quote. It was from Summit a couple years ago, and maybe some of you remember this. But the quote was basically, if there were a hidden camera on you that your team could see everything that you're doing, are you doing what you would want to show them? When I heard that, I was like, dang, I don't think my team needs to watch me like scroll through my Facebook feed endlessly.
Well, and the same thing as that video you posted the other week in TNL from the guy from GoPro, where, you know, everyone wants to make $1 million business, but is what you did today worth $1 million? You know, someone really going to pay you $1 million to scroll Facebook feed all day? Obviously, you have to be doing activities that are, you know, worth this type of money that you're going to get paid this. And it's like people say, it's a reflection of what you're doing is how much you're going to get paid, not the other way around. You know, you don't go for the pay and then, you know, it's the other way around. You have to do $1 million worth of work in order to see that actual income.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Worre, that's his name.
Eric Worre. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you hired an assistant to do everything that you did today for your Beachbody business, how much would you pay them?
I would consider it volunteer work.
Definitely nonprofit.
Yeah, it's sobering. Well, I guess I would have to pay my assistant for watching 5 hours of a Netflix marathon.
I also try to picture it in terms of my time being worth something. Just like any other professional out in the world, you know, attorneys, accountants, whatever, they bill by the hour. Their time is worth something, which in turn it values their time, and in turn gives them incentive to devote that time solely to the project at hand, because otherwise it would just be unethical.
Yeah.
And so I like to view my time as being, you know, truly worth something. I'm putting out some value to everybody else out there. So every minute that I spend just doing fluff is value that's I'm preventing value from coming into me, and I'm preventing me from getting value out as well. And that kind of keeps me on track a little bit better too.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get practical here. Brooke talked about power hours, and I know a lot of people have talked about that as well. And you know, I have a schedule that I've made up for myself that has been one of the more sustainable things, and you know, I can definitely share that. And I'd love to know, you know, from you guys, like how do you organize when you sit down to do your business? What does that look like? Let me show you my whiteboard. This is my day. And I know I've showed some of you some of this before, but it starts out with the personal development and my workout and checking in with the group. I do Facebook birthdays and I post in the morning. And then I have another chunk in the afternoon, which is when I check in with individuals in my challenge group and accept 5 more Facebook friends. And then I post in the afternoon. And then in the evening, that's when I return messages and do my Instagram and post in the evening. That's basically my day as a coach, you know, from day to day. There are a couple things that, you know, that are done on a weekly basis, like team recognition and you know, hosting these calls and doing things like that. But that's something that has been really helpful for me. And also for me to kind of break it up during the day. That's just something that worked for me. So instead of just doing, you know, Beachbody in one chunk of time, you know, for me, it's best to kind of break it up during the day.
So something recently I've started doing, and I just started doing this about 2 weeks ago. It's starting, I think it works a little bit, but I've actually started setting just an insane amount of alarms on my phone. And I always keep my phone on vibrate, so it's not really annoying. It just vibrates like a normal message would. So when I look at my phone, it just gives me an alert, and it says, you know, get off your ass and do this and go do that and go do that. And I think it kind of helps because, like you were saying earlier, you get so caught up in the back and forth of liking and commenting and going and checking in on all the groups that you're in and ones that you run and, you know, all the monotonous stuff that we do, that you really forget to do what you need to do. You know, you're taking care of everybody else, but you're not taking care of yourself, which is your business. So I've started doing that about 2 weeks ago, and it's helped. I've noticed a difference where I catch myself in La La Land, and then my alarm goes off, and I go, okay, let's get to it. Whatever the task is, whatever I write down on my phone. So that's helped.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And they say the saying is, if you want something done, ask a busy person. I don't know if you experience this, but when you don't have a lot to do, then I'm a lot less efficient.
I've got a question for people who do does anybody in here do a power hour, a literal power hour? Just 1 hour a day? Is there anybody?
I endeavor to do a power hour. I have dabbled in power hourtry.
Yeah.
I actually kind of did one today, and I definitely did not. I have a list of stuff. I think I got it from Scotty Hobbs, like a long time ago. It's his power hour list, and I do not get everything done on that list in an hour. I need to find a way to actually do it. I don't understand how it's actually possible. But what I did find today that was pretty awesome is that today I was like, listen, I'm going to invite. This is my hour. I'm going to invite the hell out of Facebook. And I started going. And as I started, it was a little tough to kind of like get going. But then as I started going, it got this momentum thing going. And I noticed halfway through the power hour, the productivity was like, whoop. So even if it kind of starts off a little slow or at least it started off a little slow for me, but it really just kind of exponentially shot up after a while. So the momentum really got going. So I'm definitely going to be doing something like that.
Well, the question I had is when I went at Summit last year when Chris Ballmer was talking about his power hour on stage. I don't know, were you there, Michael, at that pre-Summit meeting? Okay, when he was talking about that, the one thing that just does not make sense to me about a power hour, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm doing the power hour wrong, but I don't understand how you can keep a relationship going online with somebody if you literally talk to them for 5 or 10 minutes every day at the same time every day. I mean, I know when I'm in a Facebook message and I'm informing somebody, you know, they've got lots of questions and we're talking back and forth, and sometimes it lasts 20, 30, 40 minutes. And I just don't see I don't see it. I don't see the power hour working for me ever. Just for that simple reason. I couldn't just do the same things every single day at this time for 1 hour or even 2 hours. It almost has to be spread out so that you can talk to this person for 5 or 10 minutes. And then a couple hours later, someone might message you and I have a question for you, and you guys just start talking for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know. I was just curious if anybody had done a power hour and how they managed that, how they handle it.
Yeah, that's something I've tried to figure out myself because on the days I work 12.5-hour days and then 30-minute commute. So, on those days, realistically, between working out and personal development and all that, I have about 30 to 45 minutes in the morning to focus on things. And so that's where I try and focus on, messages and my challenge groups and doing those things. And it's very time crunched. And I run into that problem all the time where I might shoot up a message to someone and they don't respond for another 20, 30 minutes. And by that time, my power hour is done. I'm already, doing my workout or leaving for work. And so, that's where it becomes a struggle for me. And then on my days off, it's, I try and do the same thing. I try and get up early, so that way I can have some time with my wife later in the day. But, I might spark up a conversation and then 2 hours later, the person will write back and then those conversations go on. And I've started to do more of what Michael was talking about is get on the phone. I did that the other day with recruiting someone to be a coach. I hopped on the phone. That way it was a 15-minute conversation. We got all out of the way. But obviously that only works if you have similar schedules where on the days I work, if I'm getting off at 1 a.m, most people are asleep. Or if I'm on the, in the morning, if it's 11 a.m, they're at work. So it's tough to play those games. And a lot of times you got to play that, message back and forth game. And unless your schedule's aligned, it's hard to, like you said, get it done within an hour. It's just not realistic unless you can both be off, both get on the phone and just boom, 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 get it done. Otherwise, it's a challenge. I don't know how he accomplishes it either myself.
What do you think, Michael? You got any insight on that thing?
Well, I do know that Brooke said in her video that she does messages like 3 to 4 times a day. So they're distinct blocks of time. So it's not just like a slow drip throughout the whole day, but she does check and respond to messages multiple times a day.
So you're saying she picks out 3 or 4 distinct times during the day, and she'll let 5 or 6 or probably 3 or 4 hours go by, and a bunch of people have Messenger, and then she catches up for 10, 15 minutes, and then 3 or 4 hours goes by and checks on it again.
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
Now, she has also moved a lot of her conversations over to email, over to Gmail, rather than having the back and forth on Facebook Messenger. That's something that I've dabbled in just a little bit. There's a very different style of communication that comes from email, and it's organized differently. For me, I tend to feel like it's a little bit more formal than over a chat, like a Facebook chat. But I know it's something that has made a big impact for her.
But yeah, that's what I got out of it too, that she pretty much had like basically 3 power hours throughout her day, where she would do one in the morning, and then midday she would come back and then answer, and then once she got home from work, she would do some certain things, but it was spread out, but then there were multiple power hours, and then depending on the day, some days she would only do maybe 1 or whatever. Yeah. But it didn't seem like it was just 1 hour per day and then done with it.
Right.
Yeah, I think people, when you get an email from somebody too, I think when you open email from somebody, I think you expect more from an email. You expect more insight and a longer range of conversation. Everybody knows the peer-to-peer conversation on a messenger. Everybody understands and it's acknowledged that it's a quick thing. It's throw a couple words out, get a couple words back. I think an email is more, like you said, it's more intimate. It's more, you expect more when you read it, when you open it. So maybe there's something there to be had. I mean, I've thought about trying that, but you take just as much time writing, 5 or 6 long emails as you would just talking to them, back and forth. So it's kind of like it's kind of like pick your poison. What's your thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also that we shouldn't underestimate the relationships that we're building, even in those slightly more sporadic Facebook conversations. And I'm just thinking of how many Facebook groups I'm in where I have somewhat oddly developed what I feel are kind of strong relationships with the people that are in the group, but our interactions really only ever consisted of like someone posts, then a couple people respond to that post, and just being in the group, and then once a day checking in and seeing the same name and that little brief interaction, I've kind of formed a relationship for whatever it's worth. So even with the Facebook chatting that you're doing, once a day or twice a day, don't think that you're not necessarily building a strong relationship than you might be thinking you are.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just about everything that you do on social media can be forming those relationships. Even just the broadcast posts, and when you're reading people's comments and liking their comments and commenting on their comments, those are building relationships, so that when you finally do get that one-on-one chat, you're not starting from scratch.
I was going to say too that I've really started out with more of the personal and more of the people that I talk to in person. Those are the people that I've been trying to build relationships, and then say, hey, let's get on Facebook and talk about it. Or that's how I've been starting my relationship, is somebody that I know in person. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I've started building my relationship.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, wherever you're finding relationships, wherever that feels natural for you, that's the best place to be. That's the best place to start. And especially, in the beginning, starting with the people that you know, and just, not trying to sell things to everybody, but just building relationships and sharing openly about what's working for you is fantastic.
I think one of the things Brooke did too that was really key that I want to start doing is where she made her groups of her friends. So that way she could click on this group and scroll through it. Because that was always my fear back in the day. I'm posting all the time, but if I'm like, look, I can't waste time scrolling the news feed. And then there's this person, I'm supposedly talking with, and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my gosh, you just had a kid. And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even know they had a kid because I wasn't scrolling the news feed. So if you can isolate those people in the group, that way, once a day you can click there, you can scroll and see what's going on in their life. And then that way, when you see him, if you see him in person, someone you work with, you can be like, hey, I just saw you guys got back from Disneyland or Disney World, whatever. That's awesome. How was it? And you create those conversations that can roll into something. But if you're just scrolling through 900 of your friends, then it's going to take you forever. But isolating those groups, I think that was like a huge thing that I didn't know you could do that. It's like that is brilliant right there.
Well, how do you do that?
You just basically on the side, when you add a friend, it'll say, do you want to add them to a certain group basically?
List.
And
List.
it's list. You have friend list. And so you can create whatever you call it. You can call
So
it
you can
coworkers.
categorize your friends in your Facebook.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh God, that is
create
perfect.
lists.
Yeah.
And you can name it whatever you want.
Dude, that's like a game changer.
Yeah, and she
I
would
didn't
do
know
it
you could do
basically if she connected with someone in May, she would have her May group of people that she connected with. And so she would see all the people she connected with in the month of May. And so
You're
she
saying, and only she can see that, right? It's on her back. The Facebook.
correct.
Oh,
Or,
dude, that's key.
like she said, she's doing a thing as being, since they're getting married. So anyone that is getting married, she puts in a group. So if and you can post specifically so those people see it. So if she's posting something for, hey, you're going to get married soon, we're having a challenge group, she can post it and only those people see it. So now she knows she's not annoying all of the other friends that are like,
wait, Brandon, you can make a post that's specific to the people in that group.
Yeah, you can post it. When you see who sees it, and it'll say only my friends see it, only these.
Yes.
And then you select a group to see it.
Correct. So, like she said,
They have no idea that they're in a group. They have no idea that you're in that group. They just assume everybody saw it.
Correct.
Even though you just put it so they 5 people could see it, they just assume it's on their news feed and everybody saw it.
Correct.
Oh,
and so that's why she said it works great too with you get these new people in there and you post something about Shakeology. You don't want everyone to see it. But you just want these people that have never seen it before. It's new to them. So you can do that. So that I think is a huge, huge, huge thing.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you where I will be tomorrow morning with Facebook. Holy crap. What's funny is I've always thought about that. I've always thought there's got to be a way to group your friends without them knowing so that you can manage your family and your customers and this and that without physically putting them in a group. So that just changed my whole world right there.
I think she has a whole YouTube video on how she explains how she does it. If you just look up Brooke Dorsett Fit, she has a video where she explains how you can break them down and do that. I can't remember what the video is called, but
I've done it and it works tenfold. So much easier to take time away. I don't scroll my news feed anymore. I literally plug, I have one for PS coaches and then challenge pack people and potential clients. And if somebody adds me to Facebook, I instantly put them into one of them. And that's how I keep up with them. It's so much easier. So much easier.
Changed my whole game right there.
Got the price of the cone right there.
Crazy, man. I've thought about that for so long. I swear to God, I've thought about that. Man, there's got to be a better way to categorize the people. I mean, because you got to think, you can have 5,000 friends on Facebook. Who is literally going to sit there and scroll through 5,000 people's news feeds every single time you scroll through a news feed? I mean, you just get lost in the shuffle, I mean, as it is now, I think I have 1,000 friends on Facebook, and I'm seriously pulling up in my news feed people's posts from 4 days ago for the very first time, just because someone recently commented on it, so it makes it relevant, and I just so happened to be on at that time, And I look at the date and it's like from 4 days ago. I'm like, I've never seen this. Well,
Well,
that's
another piece of that is, let's say you have 1,000 friends. Well, Facebook will only show you the posts from about 200 of them
Right.
at any given time. So a great thing about these lists also is that you can ensure that you're not going to miss, some really important people.
oh, it's a done deal. It's on and cracking tomorrow. It's on and cracking tomorrow.
Yeah,
Man.
there's a big science of what you see on Facebook, and it depicts what you're going to see more of based
Yeah.
on what you've liked in the past and what you've
Mhm.
commented on and what your friends like. So
Yeah.
by doing these lists, you kind of create your own what I want to see as
Yeah,
opposed
you're
to what
creating your
Facebook
own
wants you to
algorithm.
see.
You're creating your own personal algorithm so that Facebook says, well, man, you contact or you view these people all the time. Because me and Jason were just talking about this last week about like detaching from Facebook and, from the news feed and doing this. But if you're telling me I can group my people, then you don't really have to detach from the news feed. You just have to select which news feed you want to view.
Correct.
So that's awesome, man. God.
I find too that it helps me like stay away from the notification thing at the top of Facebook.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, it's pinging all the time, but when you see like on the left side of your screen, you have all your groups, and on the side it'll tell you like a number, and that's how many posts that are new in that group. So like for my potential clients, there's 20 new posts. So I go in there, pick the ones I like, say that I like them, comment on a couple, and then I'm out of the group. Like I've contacted with those people daily because I know that they're posting daily. I don't know. It blew my mind.
I can't even believe that that's not even like something that people are constantly talking about. Like, that's crazy. How is this the first time I'm hearing of this?
It takes time. Like it took me probably 2 hours and I got through half of my friends, like depicting on where I wanted them to go.
Yeah.
So I'd say if you have like a smaller friend list now would be like the perfect time to do it. Because once you start adding people, it takes a long time, but.
Well, then, and not only that, you start forming that habit of every time someone friend requests you or you get them as a friend, you get right into where you want them to go. I mean, immediately. You start doing that habit right away. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's
Did
simple.
I say it was awesome? Because it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome. Crazy.
That's fantastic.
Jesus. Glad I didn't get sick for this call. God.
Oh, Beth wrote, that just blew my mind. What a time saver. Genius. Oh, and then Albrecht. Shelley Albrecht wrote, genius.
Yes.
Awesome. I mean, that's just crazy. What a time saver. And that's like the best time management tool you can ask for at least for Facebook. I mean, everybody's number one question on Facebook is how do I optimize my time on Facebook? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's the answer right there. That's crazy.
And the newsfeed and those notifications are my number one time wasters.
Yeah, the little red dot from hell, and you just see it, you're like, oh, click. Because honestly, because you want to constantly be involved in those relationships. So you're thinking, okay, if it's a potential person I'm talking to, they could be liking one of my photos or commenting, and you want to keep that conversation going. So, man, awesome.
And that can go forever.
Yeah, I mean, and while you're on that one, another one comes up, and you're just clicking the next one. So you
can put them into more than one group too. So like if they're a friend, just when like you started adding them, you don't know where they're going to go, you can put them into your friend list. And then if they pique interest in a challenge pack, I click challenge pack. So then they're in both. So if I'm hitting both, I can kind of see more of their stuff. And yeah.
Game changer, man.
Lists as well, Leslie? Like once they buy the challenge pack, do you like move them into another list?
Yep. So I literally, like all you do, like when you scroll over even their name, like how all that stuff pops up where you can message them and where it says friend. If you scroll over the friend part, it drops down that box list. So anytime that they would buy a challenge pack, I go in, take them off the challenge pack and put them in, like I have a 21-day group always running. So I take them from that potential challenge pack and automatically log them into the 21-day group. So I know that now they're a client of mine and hopefully they will be a coach.
So just by hovering over them, their name just auto-populates that Dropbox.
Yeah.
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 There's a thing where you it's like the third or fourth down. It says add to list, and then you click on that, and then there's a whole list of whatever list you have, and then on the bottom is add new list. And you can, if you want to, either put them in an existing list, or you click add new list, and then you just type in a new list.
Here,
Jason, you knew about this?
can you see this?
Hey buddy, listen, I just
I
found out
will
about it 'cause I
strangle
watched
you
that
right
video.
now. I
What's
will
that?
strangle you right now if you tell me you knew about this.
I watched the video. I did my homework and I watched that video.
You see this?
Oh,
I'm coming. I'm coming to DC, boy.
Guys, can you see this screen share?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You hover over the friends, and then these are all the possible lists. And I've got like April, May, June, March.
Look at you, Mr. Holdout.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
okay.
if you're,
I'm coming.
if you're-
You know, I'm planning a vacation to Chicago now too. Man.
The magicians never tell all their secrets. I figure some of these diamond coaches and stuff got secrets up there they're not telling us.
That is insane, Michael. You're on my list, buddy.
Telling our secrets.
Adam,
You're
Adam,
on
you
my
don't,
list, Michael.
Adam, you don't even have to be in their profile page, even if it's just if their name is on some part of your page, you can hover over their name wherever it is, and then you have that little drop down.
So from a comment or from a
Yeah,
like.
exactly,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah.
Michael, you're a sneaky guy, man. I see how it is.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
it's a trade. There's only
Okay.
time to talk about them.
Okay.
He didn't know how much we'd love him.
See what game you're playing. No, good stuff though, man. That's awesome. I'm gonna be on that ASAP.
A couple other time savers, if you don't already do this, but keep scripts of if there are common answers to questions. You know, if you get like the same questions over and over, you know, keeping a script of your answer to that, I think is really a huge time saver. Like if somebody asks you, you know, what is Body Beast, or you know, what's the 21-day fix?
Oh.
So you don't have to be writing that out over and over. Just
Yeah.
copy and paste and personalize it, of course. You know, that's a huge thing. And you know, one thing that is really convenient is if you can store those scripts on something that you can access both from your desktop computer as well as from mobile devices. You know, that's going to save you a lot of time as well. So, you know, I know Brooke talked about Google Keep. You know, Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, all of that, of course, you know, syncs across platforms, which is great. Many people use Evernote as well, or even Asana. You know, any of these services that you can access from multiple points, it makes it so much easier. So you know, out and you've got a message on the phone, you can just copy and paste. With it.
And Mr. Adam Kai can tell you about, was it CoPipe?
You know what? It's Copy PE, but they got rid of it off of Android. They got rid of it, so it's still on my phone, but you can't get it anymore. They got rid of it. But what I started using recently is I got a Dropbox account, and I've just got a folder in there, and I can access Dropbox from anywhere. And it's just you can download the app, and it's my alternative to that app that's no longer around. And it's even better because the cloud storage on that is just basically unlimited for.
Yeah.
I mean, what is data? I mean, text data takes up like nothing space. I mean, you could have like 2 gigabytes and just be in heaven. So just make a Dropbox account and start up a folder called copy and paste or whatever, and just start putting stuff in there.
Yeah.
With the Dropbox, can you have other people, like other
Yes.
people
Anybody
going
can.
like
You
Google
guys
Docs?
can share folders. Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to make a password, and like I do a lot of music production. So I've got a guy that lives in Ohio that me and him send music files back and forth to, and it's just a cloud-based folder that only me and him can access, or you know, anybody that we give the password to or whatever, and they can take stuff from it and add stuff to it. And it's really cool. Really cool.
Dropbox is great. My entire business has been on Dropbox for the past year and a half. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a very good service. It's easy and like I said, you can have all your coaches. You could set up a Dropbox coach folder where basically you could have training in there or anything, just any kind of content you want. It can be audio, it can be video, it can be data, it can be document files. I mean, anything. Awesome, man.
Wow, that's good stuff.
God, what a good call. I can't believe you, Jason.
I think one more thing.
It's like within the past 24 hours, man.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
I know.
I think one more thing that was key that Brooke brought up in the video is that most of us got into this because we wanted to create freedom for us and for our family. And so you kind of have to take your own time into respect when doing that with time management. Because I know we talk about that red box or the red dot, seeing that and being like, what if it's a potential client or messages? And it's actually something Chris Ballmer told me when I was talking to him at Summit, is that you can't always focus on that immediately, because I know we think we're going to miss something. But if you're constantly doing that, you're constantly going to have that stress of, am I going to miss something? And then it can start rolling into your personal time when you're out with your family and you're like, oh, shoot, I got a message. I better check it. I'm going to lose this client. But you need to set aside that time that actually makes your people respect you more. Like, I've noticed that I used to be the one, as soon as I'd get a message, I'd have to reply right away because I was like, I don't want to miss this opportunity. And the moment I started, you know what, I'll get to it when I get to it, like, people started respecting my time a lot more. And I felt like they respected me more, because now all of a sudden I seem like, you know, he doesn't have a lot of time. He's focusing his time on other things, so I can't waste his time. So they no longer waste your time. They get to the point, you get to the point. So realize that if you have, you know, family time set aside, don't worry about what's going on Facebook or in your messages. Let it go. You can get to it when you get to it. They'll be there. And what Chris taught me is that you have 24 hours basically should be your time that you should have to respond. If someone comments on one of your Facebook things or leaves you a message, you have 24 hours to respond. If it takes you 18 hours, don't worry about it. Those people will understand that it doesn't have to be right now. It can wait. And so that way it respects your time, and you're not creating this lifestyle where 5 years down the road, you're 5-star diamond and all you're doing is messages and comments all day long, and you don't have time for freedom because you've created this environment where people can message you anytime, any day, and you'll respond. So that's what creating those power hours kind of does too, is this is the time I'm available. And if you have to let your friends or your teammates know, say, hey, look, this is when I'm available. Set time for them. I work, you know, from this hour to this hour. If you can't get a hold of me, I'm not going to be available after 9 p.m. You know, that's my time. That's my cutoff. That's my family time. You know, create those hours so that they can respect you and you can respect them.
Yeah, right on. I know even one of the coaches on our team even posted on social media that, you know, after a certain time in the evening, he doesn't respond to messages. And it was all about creating time for him and his family. And it got so much attention and approval, because that's what everybody wants. You know, we all want to be able to spend time with the people that we love and not feel tethered to, you know, to everything else.
Yeah, unless it's like the end of the month and you're doing the Michael strategy where you're just begging people for challenge packs. I need a huge favor, guys, please. No, I'm just joking with you, man. That was awesome, though.
Every day.
That was awesome, man. I'm telling you, what a trick up your sleeve that was.
I did tell you that, I got 10 Success Club points in the last 2 days of the month.
Yeah.
And, however, the last 2 Success Club points technically happened 36 seconds after the deadline.
Right.
However, I petitioned to Coach Relations to have it applied to the previous month, and they accepted that.
Oh, good. I wondered if they took it, Michael.
Yes, I was.
Because I thought 36 seconds, that's bogus.
6 seconds.
Right.
Timestamp. So just so you know, if it is 11:58, keep pushing.
That's it.
Last day of the month.
Awesome, man. What an awesome call.
Well,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
This is really just the nuts and bolts, of
Mhm.
what makes this business tick. And, you guys have such great ideas, and it's just such a pleasure to be surrounded by such amazing and committed people. So, it is 8:59 here, so I'm going to call it a day since we're talking about time management. I will
Yeah.
post the video and in the invitation and in our coach groups, and feel free to share that with your teams. So thank you so much for joining, and I will see you this week. Let's manage our time.
Thank you for putting on the call.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Bye,
Mike.
guys.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.